What about the SNP that can't even tell her what a woman is? Do you understand how embarrassing? Do you understand how embarrassing the SNP are to this country? SNP. Why would you vote SNP in this
country? Because they're for independence.
What's that?
They're for independence. Well, it's the only channel we've got because all the other ones are all unionists. They're all corrupt to the core. You don't think SNP are corrupt, right? Did you vote for independence?
Way back in 2014, I did, yes, but I would never do it again.
Me personally, I live in Scotland. I'm a Glaswegian. I'm a proud Scottish man.
Likewise.
I know if I'm at an independence rally, I'd be flagging my saltire. I wouldn't be flying that flag. That's my honest opinion.
I stand in solidarity with any trans person in this country. I think we have to say quite confidently and clearly that trans women are women, trans men are men, and that we stand with them 100%.
I disagree with that. What do you think? How many genders are there?
Sorry?
How many genders are there?
How many genders are there? Gender is a social construct.
What does that mean? If you say that, so right now there's Palestine flags over there now, right? If they heard you say that right now, they would then possibly classify you as right wing.
I'm no right wing.
Honestly, do I know my honest answer? I'm going to be blatantly honest with you.
That's fine.
Common sense has been out the window. So today I'm in Glasgow Green and there's an independence rally happening just now. And, I'm someone who voted for independence back in 2014. But if you were to ask me now, would I vote for independence? Definitely not. Not under the SNP, and do I trust any other parties at this point in time? Not really, no. I mean, we've got people that came for the SNP and they joined another particular party. Now, there is a guy that is part of a party called Alba, and that man is a good man, and I know he is. But for me, I feel that we are being governed by something a lot higher. All government are being governed by WEF and many others. But I'm interested to know what people's thoughts are. So I'm here and I'm going to interview a few people. So let's have a look around. Home is where the heart is. Oh, that's fine. It's like I said, I'm only here to interview. We'll go
How many followers have you got? Have you got a lot of followers?
A lot of followers on TikTok. I've had a lot of followers, but I've been shut down. And Nicola Sturgeon shot me down. But I mean, if you want to come this side, we can have a chat. So, I mean, I'm at this independence rally today. I was someone that voted independence back in 2014. My honest answer is I wouldn't vote for independence if you asked me today. And I'll get into that in a minute to tell you why. I think the people of Scotland are being lied to a hell of a lot. But obviously, I mean, you've approached me and asked me if you want to do a conversation. What is it you're holding up here?
Yeah, I'm also an independent supporter, and I've voted for independence every time there's been a referendum. I totally empathise with what you're saying. But I think the politics is in a total mess just now in Scotland and England. What I would like to highlight
it's not just in Scotland and England, it's around the world.
Oh, totally.
Which tells me...
It's the rise of fascism that worries me.
This is the thing, a lot of people use the word fascism and right wing and loosely right now, which I think is targeted by the mainstream media. Why? This is the thing. You asked me a question. What is fascism?
Fascism is basically go to America. Look at Trump. He's not discussed anything with any of his cabinet. It's been executive orders. Everything the changes that he's made. What's going on over there? Okay. I'm not here to talk about Trump. If you watch the news, you know what's going on.
I don't watch the news. I don't believe mainstream. Do you use BBC and mainstream media?
Not at all. No.
Okay.
I dip in and out to see what crap they're reporting, but I use Double Down News. I watch Al Jazeera English to see what's going on, and not just in the Middle East, but in the world. Yeah, it's a much better standard of reporting.
So what's that you're holding up?
I would like to highlight today about John Swinney. He has been banging on about kneecap. Okay, there's been an orchestrated smear campaign going on about kneecap in the past couple of weeks after their appearance at Coachella. festival in America. Okay, it started. They've obviously been trawling through all their videos. They brought up this video that of somebody said on stage well over a year ago. Making out they just said it. This has been a smear campaign to try to discredit NECAP because they're showing up politicians all over the world. They've been speaking up for Gaza. Okay, John Swinney weighed in this week. We're asking John Swinney what his thoughts are on this band, The Disturbed, who are booked to play at the Hydro in Glasgow in October, whose singer, as you can see here, has shared pictures of himself signing bombs in Israel destined for Gaza, over 20,000 children killed. Swinney has said nothing, so I would like people to write to Swinney about this.
So I'm down here, there's an independence rally going on just now. You've just walked past me and said, right John, how you doing? And I appreciate you for coming by to say that. Now, I'm here to interview people to get an understanding, right? Now, I voted independence back in 2014, right? Did you vote for independence?
Way back in 2014 I did, yes. But I would never do it again.
Why would you not? Why are so many people lost faith in the SNP and independence?
After I've seen how they actually run the country, everything they do is somebody else's fault, whether it be the Tory government down in England, whether it be whatever. It's always somebody else's fault, never theirs. I mean, you just look at the ferries, for example, the amount of millions of pounds of wasted there. Money they do, the roads that they're supposed to be, they promised they would build, no, and they're doing that, and all the likes of the WhatsApp that they cancelled during the COVID.
Yeah, I mean, that's it, every single one of them in power. It wasn't just a Tory thing, it wasn't just an England thing.
Yeah.
Nicola Sturgeon deleted all our WhatsApp messages. I mean, that's the thing. If these people are technically crooks, in my opinion.
John, if they've got nothing to hide, why did they delete the WhatsApps?
Yeah. And
you ask yourself.
And for me, I feel that the SNP are ruining this country, this beautiful country that we've got.
Definitely. And the thing about it is, I'm retired now, but if when I was working, if I was as incompetent as them at their jobs, I'd be sacked. So I don't know how these people, I mean, you talk about independence, I reckon Scotland will be bankrupt within a year because these people don't know how to run a country.
I mean, me personally, I've lost all faith, you know. And the fact of the matter is, it's not just SNP, it's all of the governments that have ignored the harms of the Jags.
Yes.
So these people pushed an injection and they still push it onto the people of Scotland.
Yes.
And they still ignore the harms of these things.
Yes.
So what does that tell people?
Yes. And also the situation where, the trans situation where saying putting men into women's jails and stuff like that was a downfall.
So I'm here at an independence rally today. Came across this guy. What is it you're holding up there, mate?
So there's a national demonstration next Saturday with Stop the War Coalition saying welfare, not warfare, bringing an end to the genocide in Gaza, fighting against continuing the war in Ukraine and Sudan and these sorts of things. And you know, there's no coincidence that at the same time they've announced more militarism in the UK that actually you know, you're having the same attacks on disability payments and all these things. So that's why welfare, not warfare is the key message there.
So currently right now, 2026 general elections coming up in Scotland. Aye. Who are you voting for?
Well, it's a tricky one. In my opinion, the SNP under Swinney have actually come out in support of militarising, so I won't be giving my support to Swinney. I would be voting for any left socialist principled independents or people affiliated to parties is who I'd be voting.
So, I mean, like, this is all under one banner, it seems to be. You know, I do see Palestine flags here. I'm a bit curious. We're at a Scotland rally, but we've got Palestine flags. Do you think this is necessary, this? I
mean, for me, Scottish independence is also a matter of smashing up the British imperialist state, and so absolutely this is a place to show that Scotland does not stand with a genocidal state, and that we want an end to war, and we want to support, you know, welfare and people at home rather than continuing to, you know, destroy working class people's lives abroad.
And there's obviously been an uprise. I mean, there's a lot less people wanting to vote SNP. You know, I voted in 2014 for independence. I wouldn't vote for independence now if you paid me. Reason being is I don't trust any of them. I think what's going on right now is actually a bigger thing, and I think there's too much division happening in this country, and I do think that people need to unite. But I think when you bring things like this in, I think it does cause a bit of divide, because I'm from Scotland and I think we'll get that many problems in our own country, and it's like we need to fix our own country before we start going to other countries. Would you not agree with that?
That's absolutely right. So why would we send arms to bomb people in other countries if you want to fix problems in this country?
Well, like I said, there's plenty of problems in this country, and I say, why do you think that there's more people voting reform nowadays?
I mean, they are positioning themselves as the outsiders in government, and in actual fact, they are a party of the ruling class. They're millionaire and billionaire-run party for millionaires and billionaires, and they will not make working class people's lives better. I think we have to say that quite confidently, and you know.
You've heard me over there having a chat. You've come out and approached me. You want to have a chat. What do you want to talk about?
Well, you can ask the guys, as I said.
Well, what brings you out here today?
So I'm out here to support the independence movement.
Okay. And who would you vote for in 2026?
Well, I've not kind of decided yet, kind of seeing how the government kind of going down, but I am tied between either the Alba Party or the Scottish National Party.
I know one man.
It will more than likely be the SNP, seeing as they have the more seats. I'm kind of more in the view of you vote for the General Independence Party, and then once we're independent, you can vote for whatever party you like. That's up to yourself.
Do you think that do we have a date for independence yet?
I wouldn't say we have a definite date. There's not any pen on paper, this is the day we're going to become independent, but I'm sure once the vote comes in, the general kind of vote, and we vote for another referendum, something else will be
So you would vote for SNP even though with all the corruption that's happened with the SNP recently?
What would you specify corruption? Are you talking about the issues with the money?
Well, the money was one of them.
So the money was one of them, but if you kind of more look into it, it was actually Nicola Sturgeon's husband. Sturgeon had nothing to do with it.
Are you trying to tell me Nicola Sturgeon didn't know and they weren't in it together?
I mean, I would say so. I mean, when the news all came out and it was his husband, Sturgeon divorced him immediately after.
So obviously, I mean, this is an independence rally, and it seems to be that,
Yeah.
you know, is this Alba, is this SNP, what is this?
No, this isn't. It's no political party. It's people that want independence. I want independence for Scotland within an independent Scotland.
So,
I don't know what party
I see you. I see you're holding the Palestine flag here now.
Yeah, I'm just going on to that because I want independence for Palestine.
Well,
I want freedom and justice for
my
Palestine.
question is, right, because I think that me personally, I live in Scotland, I'm a Glaswegian, I'm a proud Scottish man.
Likewise.
I know if I'm at an independence rally, I'd be flagging my saltire, I wouldn't be flying that flag. That's my honest opinion.
Right, okay, that's your opinion.
I don't see why.
Many similarities.
But,
Palestine is colonised,
okay,
and Scotland is colonised, so we have that in common.
Right, so you do realise that there's a lot more issues going on in our own country before we start to look at Palestine. No, but if we have issues in Scotland, so for
it's not either or. We can do both. We can have our humane.
Do you think
some of us have humanity. We can think outside the box.
I say I've got empathy towards both. I've got empathy towards this and what you're saying. But what I'm saying, there's so many issues going on in our own country. If England was to invade Scotland tomorrow, do you think that Palestine would be marching for Scotland?
Oh, please, what a ridiculous question. Palestine can't even walk. They've been starved
I'm asking
to
a simple question.
They've been starved to death, people in Palestine. Obviously, this conversation has reached its natural end. Okay, this is a guy, right, thanks for your time.
I've got empathy towards Palestine and stuff, but I do think that it muddies the waters in Scotland. I think it causes divide. I think we can all empathise towards it, but when I know there's people in my own country who have got issues, I think we need to focus on Scotland first. Would you not agree?
I don't think that is. I mean, if you're talking about Scotland first, does that mean standing with, you know, the millionaires and billionaires in Scotland rather than people being bombed in Gaza,
standing with the people of Scotland, you know, like
I don't think. I mean, sorry, just to say, I don't think that, you know, continuing to send money and arms to fund the war in Ukraine, to fund genocide in Gaza, is actually working for Scottish.
So, do you think that? So, in 2026, you don't know who you're voting for?
I will vote for whichever left-wing, socialist, principled candidate.
When you mean left-wing, what do we mean by left-wing?
Oh, well, I'm a socialist, so I want, you know, workers' control.
Do you agree with the trans stuff a couple of weeks ago? Do you think that women, like, what is a woman? Do you know how they were all talking about that a few weeks ago?
Yeah, I stand in solidarity with any trans person in this country. I think we have to say quite confidently and clearly that, you know, trans women are women, trans men are men, and that we stand with them 100%.
I disagree with that.
Well, I could chat all day about that if you wanted, but I think we both have to get on with our days.
I think the left are actually quite dangerous to Scotland, to be honest with you, when it's things like that, educating children at a young age regarding this stuff. I don't think children should be getting educated at a young age, and what I've seen, and John Swinney was challenged on it on stage, what they're educating children on. You know, I think this whole trans thing is very messy. I mean, how many genders are there?
I mean, I think that you can quite quickly try to devolve this conversation into like complete abstract non-reality. What's clear, right, is that trans people make up less than 1% of the population. They're a very small group of people who at the moment are taking the brunt of media attacks all across the UK. It's absolutely sickening, in my opinion, that they're being used as a political football to essentially attack whichever, you know, left-wing movement. Or,
but you do believe that trans women are women and
I do,
trans
absolutely,
men.
100%. And
even though they were born a different sex.
Yeah, and I don't believe that you know, biological sex is the same as gender.
So I'm out here, right? I'm at an independence rally, right? Me personally, I voted for independence back in 2014. I wouldn't vote for independence now. What about yourself?
Definitely, 100%.
Who are you voting for? 2026.
The only party that want independence is SNP.
Oh, you've got SNP and you've got the Alba Party. Do you not go for the Alba Party?
To be honest, Paul, I'm not very political, but at the end of the day, this isn't to do with us. If it happens in our generation, in our lifetime, brilliant. But this is for our kids.
Well, I think there's something bigger at play for our kids. I think our freedom's getting taken away from us, and I think it's coming higher above.
Absolutely.
I don't think I think the SNP are crooks, to be honest with you. I mean, Nicola Sturgeon, for example, deleted all our WhatsApp messages in the COVID inquiry. Why do you think she done that?
To be honest, Paul, you can't trust any politician.
Exactly. Do you know, I think if we had a better Scotland, mate, where we had honest politicians,
Absolutely.
I would maybe then consider taking on, consider voting for independence, but as it currently stands now, mate, I wouldn't vote for them if you paid me.
No, 100%
Again,
agree with you.
The SNP are the ones that are, you know, taking women to court regarding, you know, how many genders are there, big man?
No, well, in my opinion, there's two genders. But if people want to describe themselves as something else, that's up to them. But it should not be forced upon us.
I think personally, right now, as I said, I wouldn't vote for independence if you paid me, just because of the SNP. But if we had honest people, politicians in, I genuinely believe that we would it'd be a better Scotland. But for me right now, I think that people are just, if SNP's the only answer, they're just then going to vote crooks in again.
It's a tough one. Majority of Scotland want independence because we don't want to be governed by an English government.
Nicola Sturgeon and many others in the COVID inquiry, she had her WhatsApp messages. In the COVID inquiry, why do you think she's deleted all her WhatsApp messages? Now, not only that, she was actually told on TV that, you know, she would basically give those WhatsApp messages, but now she's deleted them all. What does that tell you?
Well, I mean, that comes down to a lot of standstills. The UK government also had a lie. The Partygate issue was a big thing with the Conservative Party throwing their own parties, having their own kind of personal gatherings, when thousands of people were dying in care homes, clinging onto latex balloons filled with warm water as their last sign of life. I mean, a lot of that for WhatsApp messages being deleted and whatnot. If you kind of look more into it, and I'm into cybersecurity, and I know a lot of these regulations right now. The GDPR is a very, very big one. So the GDPR means you cannot share someone's data without their permission. So a big thing to do with that is when you move over, so for example, if someone has got a new phone or following GDPR regulations, a lot of these messages are deleted to keep the security and to keep confidentiality among these parliaments. A lot of these people will have their phones modified to not share out information like that between other people.
If she was in front of a judge, she was in a court, why did the woman delete her COVID messages? And she was told specifically, she was told not to. Does that not tell you she's got something to hide?
I mean, who knows? You know what
I mean? I mean, there's a lot of things that have been missing in the COVID inquiry.
I mean, yeah, a lot of things have been missing in COVID inquiry, but that's not
Have you been
entirely
keeping up to date with the COVID inquiry?
Well, I've been keeping up to date as much as I possibly can. You know what I mean? I'm not.
Did you take the jag?
I personally didn't, but my parents did.
Okay, what do you think of that?
I mean, the COVID, it helped a lot of people. You know what I mean? It didn't.
What, the jag?
Yeah, it doesn't make you completely immune to COVID, but it builds up a form of resistance.
But you do know that it was handed in a phase 4 trial. You do know it wasn't tested to stop transmission.
Well, the reason it was built like that is because we had such short time to do it. They wanted to push out the COVID vaccine as close as possible.
So what
because
about
so many people were dying?
Okay, so what about the fact that in the clinical trials that all these people knew that it was harming people? What about the fact that it's actually unaliving people right now? Do you not think the Scottish Government should be looking into that and they should be pulling it from the market?
Sorry, you mean the COVID is people?
Yes.
Where is your evidence to support this?
Plenty of evidence regarding it. Have you not heard of Lisa Shaw from the BBC?
I have not, no.
You haven't heard? She worked for the BBC and now she's no longer here. You heard about Alex Mitchell, his leg amputated? No?
None
Do
of
you not think that that's something that the government have been hiding from a lot of people?
So, well, I mean, why would they release the COVID injection if they knew it was going to be killing people?
They're still handing it out and they know it's killing people.
Well, surely they would pull it back. I mean...
No, they haven't. They still continue to give it out to pregnant women. It nearly killed me.
Did it?
What do you mean, did it?
Well, I mean...
Do you want me to show you pictures?
I mean...
Of me in a wheelchair for 14 months bedridden. So, bumped into this man here. His name's Neil Hanvey. Neil... I can't say a bad word about you, mate, to be honest with you.
Thanks so much, John.
I think you've been fantastic with myself, speaking out regarding the harms of the Jags.
Yes.
People still believe they're safe and effective. When you lost your seat as an MP, I was very disheartened because I felt like I'd lost a man who cared. And I said this before, you know, I've dealt with politicians in the past, but I felt you were the only one that was doing the right thing. Obviously, we came out here, Neil. Now, for me, I wouldn't vote for independence because I've personally lost trust in politics, as well as majority of people in Scotland are now turning this way and they're thinking more reform as well. I mean, obviously, Alba is for independence.
Yep.
I mean, the thing is as well, we don't have a date for independence. This is one of the questions I always come up with.
Yeah.
So,
But where do you want me to start? So, in terms of being an advocate for harm, whilst we don't have the platform of being an MP any longer, I haven't stopped highlighting serious issues and the increased evidence that the are actively harmful and that, worryingly, that's possibly known by not just by the pharmaceutical industry, but also by the politicians, that they were aware that there was a risk of harm and, the disseminated distribution of the spike protein into organs all over the body is just so worrying. I think the new evidence about mad cow disease type of disease, prion disease, is really worrying.
It just seems that the independence, again, you're my first interview today, will be interesting to see what the rest of them say. It just seems to be, we'll vote anyone for independence. In my honest opinion, there is a hell of a lot more issues, and independence is at the bottom of the list. Number one, we don't even have a date for independence.
No, and the thing about it is, they keep on about, we'll get independence. The reason they do that is because to get these people to continue to vote for them, so they can live their life on the wee gravy train from the taxpayer.
Well, why not fix the problems we've got? Why not listen to people? Do the people of Scotland want the low emission zone?
Well, as I said to you, if you really wanted independence, why don't you make a proper go of this country and make it the best country out of the whole UK, so we can turn round to England and Wales and say, look at us, we're actually brilliant, look at all the jobs we've got, look at everything. But no, they just try to destroy it. And then they destroy it and then they blame Westminster. So as people will vote for them because they think they're better than Westminster, which they're not.
So what you're saying is, right, no COVID in my system, no nothing. I take the Jag.
Well, no,
I end up in a wheelchair.
No, sorry. You're misunderstanding. When a vaccine happens, you are directly injecting the virus into your system. See, when you go into the doctors and take an influenza shot, you're having the flu injected in your system.
Okay, how does that work?
Well, because they inject the virus in your system in a very, very small...
Okay, so where does it go?
In your system, in the antibodies.
But where do they inject that?
In your arm.
Okay, so with muscle tissue?
Yeah.
Okay, so how did they inject that Jag? How did they inject that?
With a hypodermic needle.
Okay, so what's the procedure for that?
I'm not a nurse.
Okay, so they basically they put the needle into the arm. They're supposed to aspirate the needle. Do you know what aspiration means? No, it means that they pull it back, and if they pull it back and there's blood in the vial, that means they're into an artery. During the pandemic, they were instructed not to aspirate the needle, which means it could directly go into people's systems. Did you know that?
Vaccines are supposed to go into people's systems.
No, they're supposed to go into muscle tissue area. The way it works is it goes into a muscle tissue area, and the way it's supposed to work, it's supposed to send a signal to the body, and that's how the body fights it off. These jags were directly injected into people's system, blood system. I've got a friend, his name's Alex Mitchell.
Okay.
Had a leg amputated, proven by government, proven by doctors, proven by AstraZeneca. His leg was amputated.
Okay. And what was the cause?
And I'm telling you it harms people, and you're telling me that they still want to roll it out.
Well, vaccines work different on different people. You're not going to get. It's like medication.
So can you tell me the long-term safety effects of these drugs?
Well, no, I'm not a doctor. I'm not clinically.
So do you honestly believe that it saved millions of lives, even though it was never tested? And also, if you take it, you also you can't then stop it, and you can still catch COVID.
Well, I mean, you can still catch the flu, can't you? And you've had many flu vaccines. Well, I mean, me personally, I've had flu vaccines. I've had different vaccinations.
This isn't about the jag anyway. But what I'm saying to you is, I've told you the level of corruption regarding the SNP regarding this,
Right.
which is all in the COVID inquiry.
Okay.
So you're quite willing to then vote for criminals to then run our country.
Well, I mean, look at the United States, for example. They've just voted for a convicted felon. I mean, I'm not agreeing with that, but, you know...
Well, the question is, why, right? Here's a question for you.
Okay.
Why if Donald Trump was what people made him out to be, why did the majority of America vote for him?
Well, in my opinion, because they're very small-minded.
Where do you get your information from?
So I get my information from things like public media. I follow a newspaper called The National, which is a Scottish independent newspaper. They believe in the kind of belief for Scottish independence, so I'll get my media from there. I'll get it from other sources like STV and there's other things in like kind of more.
You trust
media.
STV?
To an extent.
I've been asked here about the gentleman here has a slightly different opinion about the fact that, you know, I'm raising awareness, trying to raise awareness about Palestine here.
I think Palestine causes a lot of division in Scotland right now.
But we have so many similarities.
No,
Palestine was colonised by Israel, and Scotland was colonised by England.
But this is the thing. Do you guys genuinely believe that the SNP are the answer out right now? Because there's so many.
This has nothing to do with SNP. This is an independent.
It's an independent. But I feel honestly that the government are dangling this independence thing in front of everybody.
No, people are more intelligent. Thank you. Exactly. People want independence.
And once we get independence.
So who are you voting for in 2026?
I'm voting 1 and 2 SNP.
SNP?
Aye.
Why would you vote SNP in this
Because they're for
current?
independence.
What's that?
They're for independence.
So just because she's purely for
Well,
independence,
it's the only
SNP?
channel we've got because all the other ones are all unionists. They're all corrupt to the core. They're
You
not
don't think
interested in Scotland.
you don't think
Who are they
SNP?
to tell
You don't
us?
think SNP are corrupt?
Exactly.
Well, I would say, well, Nicola Sturgeon deleted all our WhatsApp messages in the COVID inquiry.
What did Boris Johnson do?
But they all done They all done it. I'm saying.
Because a politician that's squeaky clean.
I don't know, mate. I don't think any of them are squeaky clean. I don't think any of them.
What's your point then?
I'm just saying that
You say we should have been running ourselves.
I never said that. Did I say that? I said if we're going to vote for SNP,
So
which
who
is
would
to
you
continue,
vote for?
I wouldn't vote for anybody right now. I think we need new faces in politics.
So you've got a point, but there are means to an end.
But so you would agree to vote for basically corrupt to then lead the country? So vote for SNP. But the SNP aren't corrupt.
But no, who
But
said
what we're saying is, you're going to get independence in the first place.
Well, I mean, you take.
Once we've independence,
Let's cast ourselves back to COVID and what the government's sort of done to the people of Scotland and around the world.
do you think COVID, it was a made up,
just a Scotland thing?
Is what? Sorry.
fantasy, you kind of,
But the COVID.
Denial, like-
Did I say that?
no, but you're kind of putting words in you.
Well-
You're insinuating it was a,
Do you think?
Well,
Was it like
the government locked down this whole country for something that didn't end as many people
I'll tell
die.
you something, mate.
The whole
5 weeks
world-
ago, I had
the whole
really
world
major
was locked
surgery.
down.
Okay.
And I was in intensive care, and the nurse that was looking after me, COVID deniers. he would
Did I say
string every
COVID?
one
Did I say COVID denier? Are you? Okay, so do you want to talk about the harms of the Jags if you're a COVID nurse? Do you want to talk? So there's no that. So didn't harm people?
It saved me.
It saved you. How did it save you?
Because I could have had the flu. Quite
Aye,
a few
exactly.
times, really bad flu.
So I took the Jag that nearly ended my life. What do you think of that?
It saved
So it's all right.
No, it's
Yep,
not
sorry,
right.
it's
but
not.
All the governments ignored me, including Nicola Sturgeon, John Swinton, a lot of them. What do you think of that? What do you think? There's people in this country that have been harmed by that jag. I've got a friend who lost his leg to that
The
thing.
whole world.
No, but do you understand that the government handed out the biggest lie in history?
Well,
Will you call me a COVID denier?
there's probably more people were saved by the COVID vaccine.
You think so?
I think so, aye.
Have you watched the COVID?
I'm only going with what the people.
But
looked after me
BBC,
in the Royal
the
Infirmary
BBC.
did. I don't listen to the BBC, mate.
Well, wait, so hold on, right? I'm trying to say, right, the government on they're not getting the mainstream media telling this, right? Did you know it wasn't tested for transmission? They didn't even test it for. Did you know it was handed out in a phase 4 trial?
I didn't know that. No.
No, how do people not know that? This is evidence.
Well,
That's,
that's what the media decides.
What's the media decides?
so I believe honestly this goes higher up than everybody together. I think this goes higher above SNP and all that.
Of course it does. It's trying to get to Westminster, don't it? They're the ones that kind of licensed it.
But again, Nicola Sturgeon and all that, they're all criminals at this point. Do you know, like she deletes her WhatsApp messages, do you think that's right? And ignores the right. So I've told you, right, I nearly ended my life, right? My mate had his leg amputated for it, right? Do you not think that the government should be compensating, looking after us?
Of course we should.
Right, so why are they ignoring the harms? And according to do you know what the yellow card system is?
No.
No. So according to the yellow card system, there's over 500,000 people in the UK alone that have been harmed by the jag, and they've not had any help.
But that needs to be brought out.
That needs to be.
So do you think they just vote SNP and even though they're corrupt and all that?
Oh no.
Well, I would vote for independence.
I'm looking for independence.
Right.
I don't know why we're going to. If we don't vote SNP the next.
So what about the hate speech bill and all that they brought in?
The what?
The hate speech bill.
That's a lot of nonsense to it.
What about the SNP that can't even tell her what a woman is? Do you understand how embarrassing? Do you understand how embarrassing the SNP are to this country?
Oh. Well.
Well, anyway, appreciate it, mate. So there's a lot of more people arriving right now. We've got Palestine flags, we've got trans flags over there. I get people want independence and all that, but I need people to understand that I think this honestly goes higher. But that guy called me a COVID denier. Did I say I denied COVID? I never said that. Anyway, for me, like I said, this has been orchestrated since 2020. The world went mad. I mean, the fact is I've been round here, obviously. I do bring up COVID because me personally, that's when I lost faith in politicians and SNP. You were part of SNP. Yep. Anyone that turns their back on knowing the harms of these things, you've lost your credibility straight away. Spoke to a gentleman over there telling me he's still willing to take them, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, when do people realise that I'm not speaking nonsense here, I'm speaking like from I'm coming from a place I care because I don't want to hear anybody else harmed from them.
The evidence against the use of as a technology is incontrovertible. You know, it should not be used. It is a known harmful agent, and it should be. You know, how regulators are allowing its continued use is absolutely beyond me.
I find it interesting. A Palestine flag is an independent rally, and for me, I feel that the whole UK and everyone's been lied to by the mainstream media. I do think that they've lied about Palestine. I mean, can we agree on that?
Lied in what way? That.
Well, they're more towards Israel, are they not? Like Labour and everything. So if that shows people that how much they can lie about that kind of stuff, what else do you think the governments have lied about?
I mean, I 100% agree with you, mate. I'm not. I mean, I'm a socialist. I'm also a revolutionary socialist. Yep. I don't believe change will come through Parliament. So I think that people should, through initiatives like under one banner, they should be on the streets demanding end to the genocide, end to our complicity in wars around the world. And that's how we get real change. It's not through voting in people.
Just to kind of put in something, if England were to invade Scotland, right?
Okay,
do you think that the Palestinians would be marching for Scotland in the Saltire?
I think if you look at messages of support coming out of Gaza, they really appreciate the movement around the world at the moment. They were doing chants in English from like the student encampments, both in the US and in the UK. Yeah. There is a global solidarity movement.
The thing is, as well, what you said actually quite interesting. Do you think the trans movement would be accepted in Palestine?
I think if you actually see the Palestine movements in the UK, you see trans people on them openly saying, you know, that they don't want to be used to this, you know, this term pinkwashing, where Israel claims to be supportive of LGBT plus people and then is bombing mercilessly LGBT people who exist in Gaza, in Palestine, in the West Bank. I think, you know, you shouldn't accept a genocide taking place because of the politics.
What do you think? I mean, I see you've got a badge there saying refugees welcome.
Yeah.
What about people who have got concerns? Now, I'm not against immigration. I think people in Scotland are starting to have concerns over illegal immigration. I was at a rally a couple of weeks ago. There was people in Kilmarnock who had concerns over people going into parks and taking photos of children. Do you think that we should be having a bit of a clampdown regarding illegal immigration, mass illegal immigration?
No.
No.
I mean,
No,
how do you define
not vetting these people,
illegal
not knowing where they're coming from?
Immigration. What happens? I mean, presumably talking about your stop the boats kind of stuff, right? People have no legal way to claim asylum in this country. You cannot enter this country to claim asylum.
I don't think
unless through the channel.
Well,
you can't.
But why should we not do that? Why should we not do the correct way? Because, like I said, I was in Kilmarnock, I've been in Scotland. There's been a lot of things circulating around Scotland regarding some women in Glasgow don't feel safe these days because they are saying that there is people coming. I can't say they're illegal immigration, but what I'm saying is, we have to fix Scotland before we fix others.
I'll come in on that point. A few things. One thing about that supposed movement around, you know, not feeling safe with your kids in parks and things. The overwhelming of cases of sexual abuse, sexual assault, rape, etc., and child abuse happen in the home, and they're not disproportionately perpetrated by refugees, nor by migrants, nor by people of colour.
So if I done a rally, bringing a lot of causes together, because there's issues like I say, there's the farmers have got issues. Have you looked into the farmers? You know, the farmers are all protesting. Have you heard about this stuff?
Yeah, I mean,
if I done a protest regarding farmers, many other issues, bringing all causes together, including looking after children, but then I also done it and I had my concerns regarding illegal immigration, would you then classify me as far right?
I would say you would likely be attracting far right elements to your rally.
Regarding SNP right now, what do you think? How many genders are there?
Sorry?
How many genders are there?
How many genders are there? Gender is a social construct.
What does that mean?
Well, it means people can identify as whoever they like as long as it makes them happy. See, if they're not directly harming me, I don't have an issue with it. You know what I mean?
Have you not noticed a massive shift since 2020?
I don't think that. I'm presuming you're going to talk about the COVID-19 pandemic.
I can speak about that if you want. I know a lot about that.
But you know, our government.
Have you ever looked into WEF? World Economic Forum?
Yeah. What about them?
Do you know about them? Do you know how corrupt they are?
Yeah, mate, again, I'm a socialist. I don't believe in, this sort of global capitalist
You do know that everything, in my opinion, is happening right now is to cause division, to cause disruption in Scotland. Not only that, I mean, we've got things called 20-minute neighbourhoods in the Glasgow City Council and Edinburgh City Council. Did you know about that?
So what's wrong with 20-minute neighbourhoods?
Well, what do you think of them with the climate control and that? Do you believe in climate change?
Do I believe in climate change?
Yeah.
That it's happening?
Yep.
Yeah.
So you believe all that? So what about when the government tell us that they're spraying the skies? A few weeks the other day, they were telling us they're dimming out the sun. Why are they dimming out the sun?
This is getting quite conspiratorial, to be honest now, mate. But what I would say, I'm a geologist.
Yep.
I'm a researcher at Glasgow Uni. I can tell you categorically that there is more CO2 in the atmosphere now than there was 100 years ago, and that is being caused by human-caused things. It's not actually a necessary.
So have you looked into WEF and they predicted all these things to happen, including WEF saying that they'll put people into 20-minute, 15-minute neighbourhoods, we'll use the climate change, digital credit score. Have you looked into all that stuff?
I'm anti-capitalist, mate. I think I don't agree with
this is what we're going into. Do you understand that?
Yeah, but so we have to look at the climate crisis and the climate movement. It is a capitalist crisis. You look back at like the 80s, ExxonMobil did all this research on climate change, and they found that they were causing climate change.
I can't believe I can't believe climate change when I do know that the government and the planes in the sky can manipulate the weather. Do you get me? Would you not agree? I mean, I'm going to use common sense here.
Okay.
The other day, did you see the article? They're dimming out the sun. Did you see that?
I did not see this.
You do know that cloud seeding.
You can let me know what.
Well, it was an article. Oh, it's a cloud seeding. So if they can manipulate the weather, how can I trust climate change?
Yeah.
Let's use common sense.
I would suggest it's not the government that does all climate research, but it's all institutions around
No, there's
the
a
world.
thing called WEF that everything is interlinked to which to come. They want us in digital imprisonment. They're going to put 20 minute neighbourhoods. They're going to start to say that you're harming the planet. And then what they're going to do is they're going to give you a carbon footprint score. And then that means you can't go out. You agree with all that?
No, I don't agree with that.
But again, pull out your phone just now and I'll prove to you that this is in
That's fine. I'm happy to look up this article.
Well, they'll play.
I think what you have to understand is that the capitalist system.
I think when you realise the truth and what's really going on, I think that everything since 2020 has been interlinked. There's a thing called Agenda 2030. I tell everybody to look into it. The farmers are under the cosh right now. They want us to eat lab-grown meat. These are all things that are factual. Do you think I'm making this up? I mean, STV promoted lab-grown meat just about a month ago. Did you not see it?
Again, mate, they promote a lot of stuff, and a lot of stuff they promote might be, going out and buying a diesel car as well. I mean,
well, you don't agree with diesel cars?
I just don't think that there's this big conspiracy that you're describing.
You don't think so? So what about COVID and all that? What about the pandemic with the Jags and stuff? What do you think of that?
I think that you should look after your health, and that you should look after the health of others.
Did you take it?
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think it saved millions of lives?
I think that the COVID pandemic wasn't handled very well, to be honest, mate. I don't think that we would necessarily agree on the why and the how.
I think it was a complicit test to see how complicit everybody would be.
Right.
And then everybody then took an experimental Jag.
All right. Did you take it?
Yep.
And have you noticed any adverse effects?
Nearly killed me.
All right.
And then when I speak out against it, they call me a conspiracy theorist. They call me misinformation, medical misinformation. Do you agree with that?
Do I agree that you didn't have adverse effects from a Jag? I mean, like.
No, I'm saying that I did. I've got 4 doctors that have confirmed. I've got a friend who's in Glasgow as well. Had his leg amputated from it. Did you hear that man's story? Well, about him, he's got proven by haematology team, proven by government, proven by AstraZeneca.
Look, I mean, how many people died from viruses, from flu, etc.?
Well, again, flu went out the window when pandemic happened. I mean, if you looked at the rates, I mean...
Do you know why that is? Because nobody went outside for about 2 years.
Okay, so what about recently
I'm going to have to, honestly, we could stand here and talk all day. I'm getting
you do know it was handed out in a phase 4 trial, don't you?
Mate, we can talk all day if you want. I don't have time.
I personally believe that this is all interlinked to what's to come.
I would agree in different ways. And I think that you should be looking at the capitalist system as the source of these crises.
Well, I say look into Agenda 2030 and then come back. Perfect, appreciate it, thank you. Do you think that this goes higher and above SNP? And the government as it currently stands right now, do you think it goes higher than that?
Yeah, I do. Like say, working class people are just getting stood upon like something that they don't like, and you can just see with the Labour government as well, doing south, but they're just as bad. But again, it's this woke lefty stuff I don't like.
The thing is, I'm a very proud Scotsman,
yeah, so am I.
And if I had a government in power that I could trust, they were fixing the main problems in this country.
Yeah.
I mean, do these people, are they actually looking at the big problems we've got in this country? Why are we funding other countries all these hundreds of millions of pounds? Why are we funding all these things? Well, all these people have got concerns in this country. Why are we not protecting children?
Yeah, well, that's right. And the thing about it is, the British government is a government that funds foreign aid. So why did John Swinney just recently give £25 million away for climate change in somebody else's country?
And climate change is part of the problem.
Oh, mate, seriously. They don't have a clue. Patrick Harvey and all the rest of the gang that they brought in here, I worked in the heating industry, and these air source heat pumps ain't going to solve the problem, and neither are these wind turbines.
In my opinion, it's all part of the planet.
It's all part of the planet,
Interlinks with the 20-minute city, and I'm telling people,
Yes.
if you're in Glasgow, in Scotland, go and
Yeah.
look at it,
Yeah.
and then they'll use the climate change, the climate hoax,
Yeah.
and they'll say, you're harming the planet. Common sense, mate. Common sense is went out the window.
Well, people like the politicians down south, the politicians here, are basically just puppets for all these people like BlackRock, Vanguard,
Bill
the
Gates.
WEF. These people are only just doing what they're telling them instead of what the British people are
And
telling.
that's what I'm saying. Them telling Scotland that we'll give you independence, they're governed by something higher, all of them.
They definitely are.
And the thing is, it's not just a Scotland issue, it's not just a UK issue.
No.
This is a global issue.
Global issue. It's
Anyway.
like these globalists don't want borders. They don't want people being patriotic about their country, and that's what they want. That's why you see all these illegal immigrants coming in here, and nobody's bothered about the border.
And again, as soon as you mention illegal immigrants, then now you're labelled as something that you're not. And the
Right.
thing is as well, we've recently had kids getting pictured in schools. I went down to Kilmarnock and
Yes.
interviewed them. Where's the SNP on all this matter?
Yeah.
Where is it? It seems to be the people have to do this.
Yes.
So, you know what? I'll be the media.
Yeah.
I'll be the real media in Scotland.
good.
Well, I appreciate you for taking the time to speak to me.
Thanks, John.
Cheers, mate. What I'm getting from people is a lot of people are saying Alba are just the dregs of the SNP. That's what I'm hearing a lot of people say. They're saying that they're getting, you know, because they lost their seat, they're now moving over to Alba. What would you say to people like that?
Well, no, I mean we've had some significant shifts across. So people who have joined the party, some members in local government, and also we've had people like Angus McNeill, who was a former SNP MP, and you know he, like me, realised that the SNP were not doing anything to achieve independence. He held in there for a bit longer than me to try and get some action, but he got nowhere. So he's now with us. And I think we're not attacking the SNP. We're trying to build support for independence in the Parliament, vote Alba on the list that's not in competition with the SNP. Any votes that the SNP get on the list, like they did in 21, will be wasted. So it's really important, if you support independence, to vote Alba on the list. But there's a really big job there to convince other people that the solution is not reform. The solution is independence. The only reform Scotland needs is to take control of its vast natural wealth itself, instead of having it all siphoned off down to Her Majesty's Treasury while we pay premium prices for our own energy.
Neil, if I had an honest politician like yourself running country, if you took over Alba, you would get my vote. I would back you guys all the way.
Well, I'm deputy leader, so I've got a significant influence now.
So you genuinely believe that there's more than two genders?
Well, I mean, me personally, I know there's a male, female, there's non-binary, there's transgender, there's gender fluid, and I don't know if people want to identify as whatever. That's not my problem. That's not my issue.
I've not got an issue with it either, but it's very. I'm still learning. To be honest with you, I don't actually understand it. I've been on this planet a hell of a lot longer.
Yeah, I know, of course.
And for me, when I hear these things, it's like I've been male, female. Majority of people in my age group are male, female, but now all of a sudden we'll get this divide of this, and then we had the courts telling people, and a lot of people are in an uproar about it. I mean, I'm not in an uproar about it. Are you?
Well, that's not for gender, that's for sex. That's coming on to the transgender debate. Now, what they are saying is basically, if you're born biologically a female and you transition fully with surgery and with hormonal treatment as a man, that by government, you are still a female. Which to me, that's not true. See if you've went through the hormonal treatment, see if you've went through the surgeries, in my eyes, you are a man. You know what I mean? Why are people so affected by this? Why are people in such an uproar about it?
I think some females are uncomfortable with it.
Why would they be uncomfortable by it?
Why you, like you said, this is a small percentage of Scotland. Why can't we just go back to the way things were?
What do you mean by the way things were?
Well, why can't we just have men get into men's toilets, women get into women's toilets, and then if you're trans, use a different toilet?
Well, that's not really fair on them because then you're segregating trans people, which is not what they want. They want to be included with male and female. And again, coming from the other spectrum, I don't agree with the whole cisgender terming.
I think it's very confusing.
Because that's segregating, you know, cisgender people from transgender people, which is not what they want. You know what I mean? See, if someone fully transitions to a female to a man and vice versa, they can use whatever toilet they've transitioned their sex to. You know what I mean? They've transitioned their sex, they've had the surgery and whatnot. So why would it bother you? Why would that make you uncomfortable? It wouldn't make me uncomfortable. And you know, I don't get the big uproar about it.
I said it's just people get their concerns.
The only two parties wanting independence is Alba and SNP.
I mean,
who do you vote for?
That's thing. I feel there's something higher up. I feel that all governments there's something happening higher up. Since 2020, a lot of the world's went to shit. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
So if you agree the world's went to shit, what do you think that means?
Well, what choice have we got? You know what I mean? We are actually governed. We've lost all the resources. You know what I mean? We've lost the coal, we've lost oil, we've lost gas. Everything's been shipped down south. What choice do we have rather than independence?
Have you ever heard of Agenda 2030 at all?
No, I have not.
You ever looked into WEF?
Sorry, who?
The World Economic Forum, the ones that basically tell us what to do.
No, I haven't, no.
Why would you not look into them when they're the ones that tell the whole world what to do?
Are you sure that they tell the whole world what to do?
Yeah,
they're merely just organisations.
It was the WHO and WEF that basically announced a pandemic. Did you know anyone during the pandemic who died?
I wouldn't say I knew people personally who died from the pandemic. My dad nearly died.
Did you personally see a pandemic?
Well, no, because I was at home.
But did you see a pandemic?
Well, on the media, yes.
On the media, so it was on TV?
Well, yeah, it was on media, it was through people,
Would that not tell you the TV lies?
Well, how would they though? Because it's not just the TV, it was people on their phones, it was people...
Well, I've asked you a question, how many people do you know that died of COVID?
Me personally, I wouldn't say I know any personal family, but I know a lot of people died of COVID.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think since the world went 2020, I think the world went crazy.
Yeah.
I think there's something bigger at play. That's my honest opinion, and I feel that it's scary times because we need to start focusing on the farmers, Neil. We need to start. We need to start looking at, you know, why the Irish now joining flags together? Why is the North and the South of Ireland standing up? Because they've got major concerns over mass illegal immigration.
Yes.
These are concerns, and the Scottish people will slowly but surely come to that way.
Yeah. And so we've got a working group on immigration. Well, you know, immigration related policies at the moment. So we'll be making an announcement about our position on that because it's a great concern of the population, and you know, you can't just ignore that or turn away from it. But in terms of that, I think the fears that you're talking about, the broad fears are generally generally discussed as WEF. You know, influences. One of those was clearly the gender issue. And we know that that's now been settled in the US by Donald Trump, and it's been settled by the Supreme Court here. And so, you know, there's a wind of change that those types of policies that were being inflicted from wherever they were coming from are being resisted by the people, and I think that will continue. Well, you know, the reason that Reform have done really well is not necessarily because Nigel Farage, you know, is the answer to everything. The reason he's doing so well is because the other parties have failed to listen to the people year after year after year, and they've inflicted policies that nobody wants. They've put the priority in all of the wrong things, and they've forgotten that they were elected to serve the people. That's the problem.
I think we're getting things, because the thing is, Neil, people say, I mean, you mentioned the WEF there, which I'm really glad you did. WEF seem to have a lot of control over manipulating other countries into doing something.
They have no democratic mandate to do anything. You know, they are they should have no influence.
My major concern is the future, Neil, regarding what's going on. 20-minute neighbourhoods. Why is Glasgow City Council and Edinburgh City Council got this in place? And you try and tell people they're trying to do this not just in Scotland, but they're trying to do it all around the world. So they've ignored the harms of the Jags. They're ignoring the farmers. It seems to be a global thing. And can you agree with me here? Am I just a mad conspiracy theorist?
There's certainly an agenda that is being put in place in lots of different countries, and that explains why there's a lurch to the right, because the right are say they're providing the answer. The worry is that pandering to the right is not necessarily the answer, but that is where all of these other parties are forcing people to go. Because, and thankfully there is an alternative in Scotland. We are a left of centre party. We're not on the right. We are considered to be socially conservative because we stand up for women's rights and LGBT rights, but that's not right wing. It's the absolute lunacy of these extremists in the left.
There seems to be a massive increase for people voting reform. Why do you think that is?
The immigration status, mate. Do you know what I mean?
What do you
It's
mean?
a case of there's too many immigrants being allowed in. These people are
Illegal
coming,
immigrants.
illegal. Yeah, these people are coming to try and better their life, which I totally get. But at the end of the day, if you work for your 16 to your 65, now 67, and basically pay into the pot, and then when you eventually retire, you're basically getting nothing.
Why do
Because they're bringing in illegal immigrants, they're putting them up in hotels, they're getting everything paid for them. You know what I mean?
Do you agree with it?
I don't agree with it. These people are obviously want to better their life.
Well,
I get that.
But again, look at Ireland, for example, mate. Been a massive, the Irish, the North and the South joined forces regarding that.
I get that.
Do you know think that? I mean, that's the biggest history of joining forces there.
You look at all the troubles in Ireland all these years, and it's been Protestants against Catholics. Now these people have actually come together to stand for something that they both believe in.
I believe that this goes higher up, mate. I think everything's been planned.
Absolutely, it goes higher up, mate. But see, at the end of the day, this isn't a hate campaign against England. This is just Scottish people wanting what's better for Scotland.
If I was to put a rally on, mate, bringing all causes together, multiple causes like the children, for example, the farmers are on their arse right now. We've got major concerns in the NHS. There's so many issues happening in our country right now.
This is all because of immigration. The problem with NHS is...
But if you start saying...
The country's overpopulated.
But if you say that, so right now there's Palestine flags over there now, right? If we heard you say that right now, they would then possibly classify you as right wing.
I'm no right wing, 100% not right wing.
I mean, again, I've got no issue with
this isn't a Palestine campaign. This is an independence campaign.
What do you think about?
I do not agree with these people with flags here today. This isn't a Palestine campaign. This is an independence rally.
Do you? I mean, that was my main concern. I seen Palestine flags. I mean, they're not even here anymore. It's as if they've just came in and left. But
just come to stand for what they believe in.
But why have they came to Scotland? Why have they came to Scotland?
No
I feel it's just mere division.
It is.
And I feel, see, for me, I don't know what football team you're into.
I don't follow football.
Right, I personally feel that if the football teams can collab together for change for Scotland, it'll be a lot better. I feel that what's happening right now, our freedom's slowly but surely getting taken away from us.
Absolutely.
And I think it doesn't matter SNP.
The problem is, but that in Scotland, especially the west of Scotland, politics, football, religion,
exactly.
What we need to do is, this isn't about Protestants, Catholics, Scotland, England. This is about Scotland standing up for what we believe in. We're losing the resources every single day, heading down south, and we need to stand up and be counted.
My question to you is, mate, how many genders are there?
There's two.
And the SNP think otherwise.
Aye, well, that's their opinion. This is mine.
I personally feel that we are being laughed at as a nation.
Absolutely.
And again, it seems to be they're not listening to people. Who in this country wants the low emission zones? Who ordered the hate speech bill?
Well,
I feel that they're trying to silence the people of Scotland.
Absolutely.
To stand up against what's to come. In my honest opinion, when people start to see what's really coming out, it's going to have to be the Scottish people standing up. And it's going to have to be that flag that you're holding behind you. No other flag.
Absolutely.
And like I say, mate, I appreciate you for taking the time.
No worries, mate. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm telling you that the whole country was locked down for something that wasn't that dead. Like, I honestly, do I know my honest answer? I'm going to be blatantly honest with you.
That's fine.
Common sense has been out the window. I do honestly feel for the future of this country. I genuinely believe that this.
What do you believe?
I'm telling you.
What do you believe is the
I believe that
solution?
this is all about control.
Okay.
I believe they're all trying to put us into some sort of dictatorship. Nicola Sturgeon, every single one of them are all part of it. They all shake hands with WEF.
Okay.
The fact that you don't know about... Do you know Bill Gates was heavily involved with the pharmaceutical industry?
Well, of course, he's a multi-millionaire.
Okay, do you know he's also involved with the farmers buying up the land?
Again, of course.
Again, and the man is actually involved with lab-grown meat.
I'm not supporting all these big, ultra-billionaires.
So do you want me to tell you, and you can go away and do your own research?
Okay.
2020 was a complicit test to see how complicit everybody would be.
Right.
WEF, WHO. Now,
Okay.
what they're trying to do to people is they're trying to cause so much division in this country for everybody to fight amongst themselves.
Okay.
Right? Then they're going to put a thing in, 20-minute cities. You heard about this?
This is where they keep everything kind of local and...
Keep it all local. So then what they'll use is they'll use the climate change. You believe in climate change?
Well, of course, climate change is a natural thing.
Okay, so you believe in climate change even though we know they're spraying the skies and manipulating the weather?
Sorry, what?
You don't believe that?
No, I don't. I believe in science. I believe in weather
Okay,
and,
so
and,
you
and,
do
na-
know...
and natural change. Climate change is a thing.
So hold on.
Okay.
You're telling me that cloud seeding's not a real thing? But they just put an article, the government, UK government just handed over 50 million quid to dim out the sun. Have you not seen this article?
No.
So how about in Dubai when they had the rain in Dubai and it was cloud seeding that caused that? Did you know about that?
I don't believe in such a thing. I believe in,
You don't believe in it? Even though I can tell you, I'll show you the article after this.
Okay.
Literally an article the other day telling people they're dimming out the sun. So how can I believe climate change when I know they manipulate the weather?
Well, they can't.
I'm going to use common sense here, pal.
Yeah, so am I. You can't manipulate weather.
It's called cloud seeding, mate. They can do it. The government, I'll show you the article
Okay.
to prove it.
Okay.
And then if I prove it to you, what are you going to then think?
Well, I don't know. You need to prove it to me.
So again, the 20-minute city, the climate change hoax, all part of it. Then what they'll do is they'll segregate us into areas. Then they'll give you a digital currency. Then they'll give you a carbon footprint.
We're already under digital currency.
Okay, so
banks.
okay, so then you're going to get a carbon footprint, and then that means you can't leave your 20-minute neighbourhood. And this is all something the WEF have said to people.
Okay.
Are you finding? Have you found you're getting media coverage? Are you finding you're up against it with the mainstream media?
Yeah, well, we're getting a bit more from legacy media, and certainly in terms of print. And, I think the fact that we've got a showing in the polls for Hollywood certainly gives us more credibility. And so we're getting exposure there. But we've got to, we can't just wait for them to do things for us. We've got to make our own media. And so that's the plan. That's exactly what we're intending to do.
Yeah, 100%. Well, look, Neil, appreciate what I said. If I had honest politicians, I would vote for independence. But right now, I just feel it's a dangling carrot by the SNP, and they don't really have hope for people.
The SNP are not the independence movement, and I don't mean that in any offensive way. They're just not. The independence movement is much bigger than the SNP, and people have to get their heads around that. You can support independence so that we can create the type of political country that we want, but we can only do that through the gateway of independence.
Appreciate it, Neil.
Okay, buddy.
Thank you. So that's me finished here in Glasgow Green's the Independence Rally. And, I said at the very beginning of this video, I was someone that voted for SNP, I voted for independence, but fast forward now to 2025, would I vote for independence or SNP? Not a chance. It's very hard to trust any politician at this point in time. And it's quite worrying the amount of people that are not actually getting the real data. And I feel a lot of people are still being manipulated by the mainstream media. But anyway, the question is, who would you vote for in 2026? Would you vote for independence? Do you trust politicians? And do you trust the mainstream media? But anyway, if you have enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. And please do share far and wide. And as I always like to say, bring the noise. So that's me finished here at Glasgow Green Independence Rally. And, I said I would vote for independence back in the day. 2014, I'm a very proud Scotsman. I voted independence. Fast forward to 2025, would I vote for independence now? Not a chance in hell. I've lost faith in so many politicians and government since 2020. And I think there's a lot of people that kind of have the same thoughts as myself. My question to you guys is, Do you want independence? Do you trust politicians? Who are you voting for in 2026? I still think the people of Scotland need to come together. I do think there's something bigger at play. Anyway, if you have enjoyed this, please like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and keep bringing the noise, I like to say. Thank you.